Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon here out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California with UBN Radio TV. That's Universal Broadcasting Network. And then every Saturday at 2 on my syndicated CNBC NBC News Radio station, KCAA. AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and everywhere on demand with iHeartRadio. And this is a show about hope and happiness, so there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words, no Kardashian talk at all, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So we have topics and guests to that end. If you've missed any one of my past 338 consecutive weeks on the air, you can get most of those shows on YouTube, since we got the cameras, or on iTunes. So everyone from Marianne Williamson to Marianne from Gilligan's Island and more, you'll have to go and get those. And also, if you subscribe on YouTube, you can go to my red carpet playlist and see my interviews with Halle Berry, John Travolta, and most recently, Jafar Jackson, who's the youngest son of Jermaine Jackson, who sings just like his Uncle Michael. So you'll have to see that interview there. And peace in and peace out to all the Nashvillians that I got to meet last week. It was an awesome trip to Nashville, Tennessee, my first time. And a peace in, peace out shout out to my favorite publishers. Sorry, Keith, only because they published my book. Morgan James did a beautiful red carpet for us, 42 authors that are coming out this season. And I got to meet great other authors, some of whom are coming on the show, Jenny Carr being the one next. And I'll talk about her a little bit at the end of the show. And then the amazing Nashvillians who would say, what are you doing here from California? And I would tell them, and then they would buy the book, which was super cool, including my Uber driver. Just never know, right? And also a peace in, peace out shout out to the Books A Million staff. Absolutely fabulous. The district manager came, the manager, I made it on their staff picks wall. My very first Books A Million author event, and they tell me it won't be my last. It was a wonderful time. Thank you so much for welcoming me there, and I'll be doing the circuit next year throughout the Northeast, New York, D.C., and look forward to more Books A Million author events. Also, a peace in and peace out to Delta. Did a great job getting me there, as usual. Didn't actually get in the cockpit this time because I was a little busy trying to move, but thank you to my shoulder relaxation massage by one of the passengers there. Excellent customer service too to Julie at Balkia in industry, as well as my amazing mom and dad who are 86 and above, who helped me finish off the move out of Seal Beach. Was a wonderful chapter, raising two beautiful girls there for 20 years. And then a peace in, peace out too. Excellent customer service at 1900 Ocean Beach Club to Tara, James, and the rest of the team. And the very first night I was there, they had karaoke. So tell me that wasn't a sign that I was to be in my new home there. Peace in, peace out to karaoke, soul karaoke. They were awesome. And as well to the West Coast relocation team, Avi and little Chris. They did a great move, my least stressful move yet. So I'm so grateful for all of the help that I've gotten. And now for my very special guest today, to self-publish or not to self-publish. That is the question. Keith Leon S. is a multiple international best-selling author. He owns a successful publishing company, and he's a speaker trainer who's known as the book guy. Keith has appeared on many popular radio and TV broadcasts. His work has been covered by Inc., LA Weekly, the Huffington Post, and Succeed magazine, just to name a few. He's spoken at events that included Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, people who've been on my show, Neale Donald Walsch, Barbara Angelis, John Gray, also on my show, Michael Beckwith, of course, my big brother, and Marianne Williamson. He's also a member of the Evolutionary Business Council. Keith's passion is teaching people how to go from first thought to bestseller and create what he calls the world's greatest business card. Please welcome to my show, Keith Leon S. Woohoo!
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And it's wonderful having you. We actually share two families, CEO Space International, hey Bernie, and September, and also Agape International Spiritual Center. And you used to sing in the choir. Not when I was there, but
I'm old school.
You use oil of Olay. You don't like that old. But so great to have you on. And so you help authors. I like that little line there, from an idea.
Right.
I should write a book to best-selling. So how do you do that?
From first thought to bestseller.
Yeah.
Well, we have a few different ways. One, we can meet people where they're at, so I can help people from the very beginning. Or for my writers who, I have this manuscript, now what? We can take them through production all the way through bestseller. And what makes us completely unique is we created a process called the You Speak It book process, and that's for people who do not have time to write, but they need a book. So in 7 phone calls, we can get all the information we need to create a book for the author.
Interesting.
Yeah,
so you're a full service, even if you don't write, you
Yeah.
can write.
Absolutely. We are
Okay.
a full service book publishing company, 15 years in the business, which in book years is like 100 years. To make it 15 years is amazing. And it's just been a beautiful journey. We've helped thousands of people to write books over the years.
That's awesome. Yeah, you got somebody singing your praises already on the post this morning. So on the CEO Space, I don't know if you saw it yet,
No.
but somebody said something nice about you.
Awesome.
That you're either a rock star or you're the bomb.
The bomb?
And I was going to put down, do we want him to explode all over the studio? Maybe not.
Thoughts
but
and things.
somebody said you
Words
were the
are
bomb.
powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's put the moose on the table about publishing itself. Now, it's gone through quite a bit. In the old days, you wouldn't have had a job because publishing was strictly for, right, the big 5, 7, 1, 3, whatever it is. How many are there now?
There's only 5 left.
There's only 5 left. So the big 5, kind of like accounting firms, right? It's merged and collapsed. So in the old days, the only way to get a book out was to go through, get a literary agent, and then they would get you a book deal, and then you would get an advance, and then you get a piece of the royalties.
Right.
And then you would either be extremely successful or not.
Yes.
And I had heard that the average number of books that a traditional publisher sells for an author through the first year of the life cycle is somewhere between 250 to 500. That it was shocking.
Yeah. If you sell more than 200 books, you're in the top 2% of all people that have ever written a book. Yes. I remember John Gray told me that years ago, and my face was just like yours right now.
I mean, that's even worse because I'd heard 250. My publisher told me 250.
Yeah.
And I thought he was being nice, right?
Yeah.
Just to manage my expectations. But you're even going the other direction.
Yeah, maybe it's gone up a little bit.
So, no. I mean, I like that. That means I'm in the top 2%.
Yeah. Because people can write books, but not that many people know how to sell them. And that's why there's so few big house New York publishers anymore, because they're still trying to do it the old school way in a new school world.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So the old school way, because most publishers now don't even run the whole marketing thing. They expect you to do it yourself. So people ask me, how did I get into Barnes & Noble and Books A Million and Tatted Cover? Did your publisher do it? Did your PR do it? And I'm like, this is all here.
Yeah.
And it was not easy, but it was totally worth it.
Yeah.
Totally worth it. And so that would be my first jump off point is it true, even though, and this was the thought process I went through, I would make more per book self-published, right? Because you maintained control of your royalties. The downside is you're less likely to get a book signing in a larger bookstore.
And if you self-publish, then you don't have access to national press, national TV, national radio, large stages. The first thing they're going to say is, who's your publisher? If they don't recognize the publisher, they go look it up. So if they haven't already heard of our company, they would look it up. They'd see our board of advisors, 15 years in business, hundreds of books, and they go, that's a real company, book them.
Okay.
But if they go and it's you and your site and you're not a publishing company, then those doors close. So having the imprint opens up doors that would not otherwise be open, which is its main purpose in the current market.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the other link is with Ingram. So Ingram or distributors, right?
Correct.
You don't have that access if you are not a publisher, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Now, are you hooked into Ingram? I didn't ask.
Yes.
You are. So you have what I would think is called a hybrid publishing company.
Correct.
Yeah. See, I'm getting the lingo.
So
you've got the traditional side where you actually read manuscripts to see if there's someone that you would want to publish.
Yes, we're not
right?
the opposite of vanity publishing, which will
The
publish
opposite
anyone
of
that gives them a check.
Okay.
Correct.
Yes.
So
yes,
we,
I've heard about that. So I think people need to know that.
Yeah.
Vanity publishers are publishers who will help you get your book published, but they're in it for the money.
Exactly.
So they don't really care if you're good or not, and you will they'll push it through.
And they pre-sell you like 5,000 books, and then they have their money, and so then that's all they care about.
Okay, so pre-selling you means you have to buy your own book.
Yeah, so say 500 books pre-sell at $10 each. They got $5,000 plus whatever you paid them to get the book done. They got the money. They're done.
They're done.
So that's why they don't have interest unless you're purchasing further programs. Right?
Okay. So I'm grateful that my publisher's not like that and yours not like that. But I hear stories of people who have a basement full of books that are not moving.
Correct.
And they are getting in the way of the exercise equipment that's also not being used in the basement. And so you don't want to, how do you stay away from that? How do you know when a publisher's a vanity publisher or not?
Well, one, they're not asking for the manuscript. They're just or sitting with it when they have it. You know, they're just like, oh yeah, great, we'll publish you. Here's how much.
Okay.
So they're charging you to publish you. That's a red flag.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, there's one that's really, really famous that hooks people with the promise that they'll get published with a big publishing house that they're a sister company of, and a lot of people get hooked under that, but then they aren't serviced correctly because it's a vanity publisher and they don't have.
Does it start with a B?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And I got a call from them.
If I had
I got a call from them. And you would think in the spiritual realm of things that it wouldn't happen like that.
Yeah.
So, but it does.
And then they have this really attractive package that's really a nice price, and people go, yeah, and they buy that package, but they don't, there's so many bullet points that they don't notice that one of those bullet points is not editing. And editing
costs money.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the highest investment.
Yeah.
So now you purchase that package, and then you find out that didn't include editing, so now you're already in a contract with them, etc. So when we decided we would publish, we made a list of all the things that publishing companies did that annoyed us and that we were not going to do. And then we said, so what would be the flip side of that? And
Okay, so give me an
everything that
example.
we do, for instance, the big house, like a HarperCollins, is going to give you $2 a book, and they're going to take all the profit.
Yeah.
We flip that upside down. When we publish someone, we get $2 a book, and the author gets the rest of the profit. Because we want you to recoup your investment as quickly as humanly possible. But I'm also going to teach you that a book is not where the money is made, really. It's
Okay.
everything after the book.
Okay,
How can
let's
we
talk about that.
repurpose and repackage your book into up to 11 different ways at all different price points, so that when people say, I love Marissa, I want more, and they come to your website, that you have more. All they've proven really is that they'll pay the price of your book.
Right.
So you want to have something at that price point.
Right,
But
right.
then you want to have something at $49.97, $197, $497, all the way up, so that however deep my pocket is and how much I want to work with you, I'm able to do that. And that's where the money is made in a
Interesting,
business.
interesting. If you've just tuned in and you're wondering who I am talking to today and why we're talking about books, oh my God, she's talking about her book again. No, we're actually not talking about my book. We're talking about the whole publishing industry and how to stay safe if you are someone who wants to publish a book. And his name is Keith Leon S., and he is called The Book Guy. And so we're talking about some BS, some belief systems that are not true, and calling that BS about publishing. So let's back up a second, because you gave me a couple of BSs in there. One is, and I've heard this too, and for an author, for someone who's actually writing a book, it is really kind of depressing to hear you're not going to make your money from selling your book. And it's like, what? What are you talking about? You know, if you have those hopes of being the next Stephen King, or, you know, the author of The Hunger Games, or, you know, you are a baddie, or, you know, the Four Agreements, certainly that caliber, they are making money from the books, right?
Yeah.
And so, but if you're a new author like myself, I'm a new solo author, and I am really grateful that my first week I sold 862 books instead of the average 200 books. So that puts me in the 2%. And I'm really, and it's because of y'all that helped me with that. So I'm super grateful for that. And now we're, I think, almost 1,500.
Nice.
And it's been 3 months.
Yeah.
So, and I absolutely know it's because happiness is trending, and it's not just because my friends are buying books because I'm asking them to, or at least I hope not, but that it is helping a lot of people. I'm getting a lot of really great feedback from
and
that.
you're doing the piece that most people do not do and won't do, which is why I say that, right? Your book can and will sell tons of copies because you're out doing the work, because you speak, which is the way to get a book out there and its message.
Right.
So you speak anytime, any place, anywhere. You just say yes. If there's one person, stand in front of them and speak. You keep doing that as much as you
if
can.
there's an Uber
right?
driver that
Exactly.
is asking why he's not happy in Tennessee and not happy in LA because he's an actor, you know, we went through a whole session in the car, and so he's like, I want to buy your book. So it wasn't, I didn't do it to get him to buy the book. I was there to be of service, because I believe that wherever I am there to be. There's no accidents.
Right.
But so
you keep at it,
Yeah.
and eventually enough books get out there.
Yeah.
And if it's a great book, then people will tell people about it.
Right.
And sooner or later, then you'll hit a tipping point where enough people are telling other people about it that then it starts to take off.
Right.
But my friend, I think it was Jack Canfield years ago, told me every overnight success when it comes to books has 7 years of hard work behind it. So it's not like you put a book out and you have
A bestseller.
international bestseller.
Yeah.
Like
There's
where
no
you sell
such thing as an
100,000
overnight.
copies.
Yeah.
You would have to be on every national TV radio show
Right.
for a month, doing nothing but that. You know, all
Yeah.
day in your jammies on radio and
Right.
on TV in every major city.
Yeah.
With live events
Yeah.
in each town, with a book signing in each town, with
Yes.
nothing but breathing books. But even then,
Yeah. There's no
how much are you
guarantee.
making on a book? Would the books that you sold pay for that tour? Would they pay for the airfare, the hotel,
Yeah,
the rent-a-car?
I unfortunately am in that traditional percentage. Fortunately and unfortunately, and I love Morgan James, and I'm so grateful that I had 3 offers and I went with them, traditionally New York, and I'm not sorry at all because I think that the placements were easy because of their reputation and their relationships. So I don't regret that at all.
Yeah.
But I do know that it's a changing thing as far as percentages, and I congratulate you. No wonder you're successful if you're putting, the bulk of the profits into the pockets of the author.
Yeah.
Now, I am going to hit another BS, and I think this is really important for people, especially those who criticize me, without sounding defensive, because I am in that same boat where I spoke to someone even like a year ago, and I said, I really wish that I wouldn't have to sell myself. I really wish that I wouldn't have to, say, hi, I'm Dr. Marissa, and I have a best-selling award-winning book, Gateways to Happiness. I really wish that people just recognize me and just say, can I have a copy of your book? Or, I wish I wouldn't have to step out there and say who I am and who I'm about. And that was a BS, a belief system that really got in my way. A lot of it, too, because I know you thought I was Swedish, but I'm actually Chinese. And in our culture, we don't, you don't stand up and you don't say who you are. And the nail that stands up is hammered down. And that is, it's a reticence, I think, that everyone at some level is told, don't stand out and don't sell. Selling is bad. Selling is wrong. Selling is something to be embarrassed about. Who do you think you are? Keep your mouth shut. Play small. And what I have switched on is that, and I can't even remember who taught me that, but changing it from selling to sharing. We all have unique gifts, talents, and abilities, and we all need to shine that.
Yes.
And it's not about selling. It's about sharing who you are and what your unique gift, talent, and ability is.
Yes, and building relationships. Relationships is our core value in our company. So it's building a relationship with people. Everything is a relationship. So as people get to hear about you, then they're interested in your book. Then they read your book. Then they get to know more about you. And then they contact you or they come to your event, or they find themselves standing in front of you to get the book signed.
Right.
They're building a relationship with you.
Okay.
And the more that you can pour your authenticity and your heart and your mission and your message into your book, then they're going to be connecting with the true you instead of the front that people put on when they get into the energy that you were feeling you didn't want to get into in the beginning.
Right. Now, does everyone have a book in them? I've heard that
At least one.
At least one? Okay.
Yeah. Because every person knows something that there's a group of people in the world that don't know. And if I don't know something and you know it, I want to know it. If you write a book for me about it, then I'm going to purchase your book. So it's
great.
What do you know that other people don't know? Even if you think it's insignificant. You think it's so small. Oh, no one would care. No one would care about that. Well, you know who cares about it? The people who don't know that thing that you know.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of living in this day and age versus the last day and age, where the ability to share information is so easy. That absolutely all 7.3 billion of us have something unique to share. So did you know growing up that you were going to be a book publisher? What was that like?
I did. I've had this plan since I was a child, that I was going to be a rock star in my 20s and 30s. 40s, I was going to be a best-selling author with a smoking hot wife and live in the mountains in a beautiful house. And then my dream was in my 50s, then I was going to move into film and directing. And that's just still a little bit out in my 50s. It will be in my 50s, but it's a little bit out there because I've got a few things to put in place before I can step out
So pretty
there.
much you had it. I mean,
Yeah.
you it's been all the way. Any detours on the way, or any slip and fall,
Oh,
or
sure.
yeah?
Yeah, and that's all going to be in my upcoming book.
Okay.
Comes out in August of 2019, called Walking with My Angels, a true story by Keith Leon. So, slip and fall would have been, drug addiction in early 20s, but it was a blessing because during that time, a earthbound angel came to me in the flesh and spent time with me to take me from believing in nothing to believing in everything, so that then he could reveal my purpose in life. And that's what I'm stepping into next year.
Yeah, and your purpose in life is?
To introduce people to their heavenly helpers, to their angels. And everything that I've done, every book that I've written up until now, every person that I've helped get their book out was all a part of that.
Interesting. Because I know that there's some listeners out there. What, you're not going to write a book on how you can find your smoking hot wife? I mean, because that's probably a skill we'd.
We wrote that
like
one already. That was our first book.
Was it?
Endorsed by John Gray on the front cover.
Oh, really? What's the name of the book?
It was called The 7 Steps to Successful Relationships. And imagine getting the #1 guy of all time
on relationships
to sign and put on the front of your book that you have relationship tools that work. That was
that's
an amazing.
Good. He's been on my show twice, actually. Yeah,
what a sweetheart of a man.
He is. He really is.
I love him.
So what's #1?
What's #1
of the 7?
#1 is
without having to buy the book. See how I am. Not that I'm going to use it, but I'm just curious.
I'll tell you what my wife and I did. We both we got really clear about what we wanted in our next relationship, and we wrote that down in a very specific way.
So the first one that didn't work gave you the clarity on what you did want.
Yeah, I had 13 and a half years with my practice wife, and I learned.
I love that.
I learned a lot of how not to do relationship. And then I actually did take the time that I needed to heal, which a lot of people don't do.
Right.
And find out who I was, because I had no idea. I only knew who I was with her because we met so young. So once I got clear on who I was, then I was able to make the list of here's what I would love in my next relationship. But then I looked at the list, and there were a few things that I was like, oh, man, I'm not that myself. And if I want to attract something into my life, I have to be that as well, because like attracts like when it comes to qualities. On the outside, opposites attract. So like he doesn't like to dance, she likes to dance. He doesn't like musical theater, she does. That's opposites attract on the outside.
Right.
But the inside, if you talk to anybody that's been together 50, 60 years and you really talk to that couple, all their inner qualities are the same. So I realized, oh, no, there's a few things that are out of balance. So then I had to go to work on me to become my list. And once I became the list, then I got clear that I was going to meet her at Agape. And so I started going both services every Sunday, because I didn't want to sleep in one
when she was
Sunday
going to be there,
and miss her for another 3 months. So and then I was very specific, like her light would enter the room before she did, and what she looked like, because after 13 and a half years and it didn't work out, I wanted to be darn sure that I didn't make a mistake and go the wrong way.
Right.
So I was very specific in inner qualities and outer qualities. And so one day at Agape, this light walked in the room before she did. She looked exactly like everything I had written. Once I connected with her for a few minutes, I could feel the energy of, this is her. So then I just had to play it cool.
Then you had to pretend like you weren't interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't she in the choir?
Neither one of us
were in the choir at the time.
I'm talking. I'm old school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been going to Agape for 26, 27 years.
Yeah. So.
But we have 19 years, so still newlyweds.
Aw, that's so cute.
19 years. We'll get to 20, I guess.
She's not on camera and at a seat with the camera. Otherwise, I'd get the real story from her. But we'll just take your word for it on how all that went down. That's beautiful. So So know yourself, be what you want to attract, right?
Get clear.
And get clear. Okay, so that's number one. Cool. So I am being told that it is time to take a quick break and thank the sponsors who make this show possible. So we'll be right back in 2 and 2. Remember, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. That's world peace through inner peace. Do you want to be happier in life than you are now? Well, Dr. Marissa's newest book, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are, will help you unlock the BS, belief systems that say you are not good enough. Hitting 6 bestseller lists, including #1 on Amazon and 3 book medals, this self-help on steroids book will help you be happy 88% of the time, which is your birthright. Go to 8waystohappiness.com today. Do you know any honest mechanics? Well, I do. Dr. Marissa here, and if you have a car you love, then take it to JP's European Auto in Huntington Beach. Experienced, knowledgeable, and professional, JP's European Auto has been the #1 choice for European auto repair since 2009. Mention Dr. Marissa and JP will give you a 10% off, so go to jpseuro.com, your dealer alternative to all European automobiles today. And welcome back. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon here out of the Sunset Gower Studios, where Scandal and Murder, She Wrote are filmed with UBN Radio TV. That's Universal Broadcasting Network TV with Tony Sweet. And every Saturday at 2 p.m. on my syndicated CNBC NBC News Radio channel, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and on demand on iHeartRadio. And today, it is the day about to self-publish or not to self-publish. What is the answer? And my special guest today is Keith Leon S., and he is here with some books of his own to show you. So let's start with that. It's funny. I'm going to hold this up because I said, "Who do you think you are?" And he goes, "Guess what?" That's one of the books I brought. So discover the purpose of your life.
That's
Who
the
do you
book
think
that
you are?
completely changed my life.
Ah, and why?
Because my first book, the one that we wrote together, The 7 Steps to Successful Relationships, before I wrote this book, that book had probably sold 12 copies. We just had no idea what to do with it.
Right.
I didn't know it was my ticket to the big stage. I didn't know I could get free press with it. I didn't know any of that. We just wrote a book and had John Gray's endorsement and thought it was going to fly off the shelves. And it didn't even fall off the shelves, let alone fly off the shelves. Right? So, so my wife and I are in a relationship, and we're also in business together. So we had.
How's that working for you?
We had wonderful. We had that seemingly failed project, and then we did another project called 1 Million Love Notes, and that seemingly failed as well.
Okay.
So Mara was like, "I'm going to take a minute off," because she was crushed. Right. My wife says, "I'm going to take a minute off, and so I'm going to go over here, and would you be willing to run the business while I'm over here licking my wounds?" And I said, absolutely. Just give me the best book title that I've ever heard, and I'm off and running. Now, I wasn't being rude. She's really, really great at book titles.
Yeah.
So it took her all of about 2 minutes to look at me and say, "Who do you think you are?" And I was like, "What? What did I do, honey?" And she's like, "No, silly. That's the book title."
Great.
So I thought, well, what would it be about? And how would I do business if it's just me instead of us?
Yeah.
So the way that I would do it, which was different, was my wife will admittedly tell you she's a bit of an overthinker, and I'm not that. And so the way that I would do it different is I would sit down and ask Spirit, God, Universe, who do you think you are? What would this book be about with that title? And so I went to prayer and meditation. And what I got in meditation one day was I was remembering when I was in my early 20s, and I was going to every church, every synagogue, every mosque, looking for my life purpose and looking for people to give me the answer. How could I discover my purpose? And to no avail. And I wished at that point that I could sit down in front of all the greatest minds, people that I knew were living their purpose, and ask them, how can I discover mine? So what I got was, who do you think you are? Discover the purpose of your life. And I now knew some of those people. I knew Reverend Michael. I knew Jack Canfield. And I could call them up and pick their brain and ask them.
Right.
who do you think you are?
Yeah,
So why are
life-
you here? What are you
life
here to do?
visioning. Mhm.
How did you discover that? What led to that discovery? And what advice would you give people searching for theirs? So clearing every morning what I thought I needed to do and asking, what is my next step? And I would sit. If I sat 2 days waiting for one answer one time, but I would sit till I got the answer. And all I did was follow my inner guidance all the way through. And the difference was interviewing 10 people from The Secret, 68 of the greatest minds in the world, an international bestseller, and now I was speaking in front of 1,000 people instead of 20. Everything shifted because all of these great minds, all of the biggest authors and speakers and marketing people in the world took me under their wing when I asked them, will you mentor me? How much and when can we do it? And every one of them said, there's talkers and doers in the world. Talkers are 99.9. Doers are the 0.1%. You're a doer, so here you go. And they gave me and taught me everything they had.
That's awesome.
So all I did was take great notes, implement. Now I had an international bestseller. And at one point I realized that I was the only human alive that had all of their information.
Wow.
And it would have took me probably $1 million in 10 years to get the education that they gave me in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started teaching other people how to write their books. And that was like herding cats. Okay, getting people to sit down long enough to write a book.
I call it nailing jello to a tree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I did that for years. And then at one point, Jack was like, hey, you might want to start publishing some of these people that you're helping to write their books. And that's when Mara and I had a look at it. It was like, well, what would that look like?
Yeah.
And how would we do it differently?
Right.
And how could we be better? And that's where we sat down and made that list, and it launched us into publishing.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So you're actually going to give this book away, right? This is one of the Asian Oprah giveaways.
Yeah. So that book took me from Keith Who to the book guy.
Keith Who to the
went
book
from
guy.
Keith Who to being the book guy.
Yeah.
Because I became the go-to guy. Do you have a question about a book? Go ask Keith. Including some of these people, by the way, which was that was interesting.
So
Imagine
you've you have them by name here too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So imagine one of the bigs calling you and saying, "Hey, Keith, what do you think I should do about this a book thing?"
Right. Yeah.
That was wild.
That is wild. That is very wild. Charles Holt, I have had him on the show.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Tap.
Interesting. So the first person to go to my website, 4balance.org, and say book guy will get this particular book. Who do you think you are? So next, the world's greatest business card. Okay, you mentioned that before. Why is your book, why is your book your best business card?
Well, first of all, it's a business card that people won't throw away. Because nobody ever throws away a book. But that teeny tiny piece of paper, it's gone almost immediately with guys. Women maybe sometimes take it home, put rubber band around it, and keep it until spring cleaning. Then it goes in the trash. But when's the last time you did business from giving somebody that teeny tiny piece of paper? Right? So if you give somebody your mission, your message, something that answers what you do for you, and then you don't talk somebody's ear off, which that was my problem. Right? People would say, what do you do? Especially at the beginning. Oh, we're relationship experts and we help corporations and we help families and teens too. Yeah, we work with teens and blah blah. Yeah, and they said, do you have a card? For one reason, to get the hell away from me.
Yeah.
Right? That's why they asked for a card, because I was throwing up all over them.
Yeah.
They're like, God, you got to get away from this guy.
Yeah.
Right? And or I had that needy energy. I need your business and I need your business.
Right.
Just get rid of that and come up with a very short answer. So what do you do? My name is Keith Leon. I'm a multiple best-selling author. I own a book publishing company. They call me the book guy. Oh, why do they call you that? Oh, they call me the book guy because I can take you from first thought to bestseller. And wherever you are in between, I can meet you where you are and get you to where you want to be. Oh, do you have a card? Yes, I do. Now, I don't blow it.
Yeah.
I don't blow it by going, here's a teeny tiny piece of paper. It doesn't even have my face on it. It's somehow supposed to represent my mission and my message and everything that I do in the world that will help you. And hand them that. I hand them this, which shows them and teaches them exactly what I do.
Right.
And then I give it with an offer. I'll pre-stamp the book with my contact information. I'll say, here, this is my gift to you, and go home and read it. And when you're ready, give me a call, and I will give you a complimentary clarity call.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get clear about what your book is going to be. And by the way, that has a value of $250, that call. So when you're ready, notice I said when you're ready twice because you don't want them to call until they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a call. Tell me that I gave you this book, and we'll do the clarity call.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now I just gave you $270 like it was nothing. Clearly I must be successful if I can give you $270 like it's nothing. And you're going, wow, someone that actually has a book, so he must be a doer instead of a talker. He has a book instead of someday is going to do a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just works. And all the people who do that exactly the way that I teach them, then they at least triple their business the next year. If they try to make it their own, maybe not the same result. But the people who do it exactly that way, their business grows by leaps and bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
how are you supposed to explain what you do, why you do it, in 10 seconds?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And again, I think this is what people who write books either miss or don't want to hear. That there's at least two parts of being an author. One is writing the book,
Right.
and then one is sharing the book.
Writing the book
Instead
the
of
easy
selling the book. Sharing the book.
Yeah.
Right? And that's that is just as much energy, if not more, than the actual writing of the book.
Yeah.
So I think that is a valuable teaching for people who want to be an author. And as you said, I think everybody should take a stab at. And I think if you frame it the way you're framing it, that this is just a tool.
Yeah.
It's not the end all of life to write a book,
Yeah.
but it's just another way of sharing who you are and what you do.
It's what allows them to fall in love with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you do share your
I might
authentic
get
self.
I might get more dates this way,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. When
I've been like, romance aside, you keep talking about relationships, and I usually am allergic to that word, but this is giving me a whole new little education.
Yeah. Well, if you're honest and willing and vulnerable, and you actually put that inside your book, then people are actually really getting to know the real you.
Yeah.
And, and who wouldn't fall in love with that?
Mm.
I know things. I know you.
Yeah.
And so if you put some of that into your book, then people
Yeah.
are just going to be like, oh, love her. Now what? And now
Well, I'm
what?
really grateful. People do say that, but maybe not romantically.
You got to get our book then. It works if you work it.
Yeah. I don't really want to work it. That's the whole issue.
Okay,
But
that's the thing.
so the next person who messages me on Facebook will get this book, The World's Greatest Business Card. And the caveat is you have to come to the studio and pick it up, though. So there's the caveat. Then there's another one over there. You Make a Difference. You're giving that one away.
Sure.
This is our LinkedIn giveaway. So first one to find me on LinkedIn, You Make a Difference. 50 heart-centered entrepreneurs share their stories of inspiration and transformation. Let's see if I recognize anybody in here. Barbara DeAngelis, I've met her. Adam Markell, my guy.
brother.
Yeah, he's fabulous. He's been on the show too. So, okay. So first one on LinkedIn. We'll get this one. So tell me about the newest book coming out. You mentioned it a little bit, and when can people get it? How do they get it? So that's in process, right?
Yeah. Well, it's ready. It's going to come out in August 20th, 2019.
Okay, 10 days after my birthday.
Yeah, which is the perfect day for it to release.
Beautiful.
And so I'm just recently out of the angel closet. Officially. I mean, I've been telling friends and family for years, but
Yeah.
so let's jumping on stage talking about it.
Yeah, let's spend 1 minute on that since we're running up against the end of the show.
Yeah.
But because it is, publisher is a business, hard. You understand it. Angels, not so much.
Yeah.
So I understand the fear factor and try to coming out of that closet. Why? Why are you doing it now?
That is why. So that all the people who would normally say, "What? Angel?" will see a successful businessman, will see a father, will see who I am, and then potentially say, well, maybe let me give it a read. Maybe let me look at that. Maybe let me be just open, just a teeny little bit to it, and then see what happens. because I know that they are more just as real as the air that I breathe. And it's been proven to me over and over and over again. I should have died 8 times. I've literally seen time reverse to keep me here on Earth more than once. And I know why I'm here and what my purpose is, and this is part of it. This is a huge part of it, is me finally coming out and sharing these stories. And I was told that anybody who even held the book in their hands would be raised to their next level of vibration. So that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. And how do people find you and connect with you and have a relationship with you?
Ooh, go to Leon Smith Publishing.
Okay.
LeonSmithPublishing.com. And there's a link there that says click here to find out more, right underneath the video of this sweet girl we're doing a book with. Click that link and you can book a clarity call with me so that we can talk about your book.
There you go. Valued at $250.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that sounds like fun. Sounds like a good indicated action for anyone who is interested in becoming an author and sharing their message.
Absolutely.
My last question that I always ask my guests is, who or what are you most grateful for?
For my beautiful wife, Mara. Yeah.
Smoking hot.
Smoking hot.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. Well, I am delighted. Thank you so much for coming on the air on camera with me, Keith Leon S. He's at Keith Smith Leon Smith. Thank you. LeonSmithPublishing.com, and that's where you find him, and you can book a clarity call with him. And now it's time at the end of every show where I invite you to step up to my balance bar, where you get to join me in any kind of balance that you would like. I am going to be first. Let's see. If you missed my first not serious, XM interview with the Tim Ridley Show, you can look that up. I actually did it. He's a morning show from 5 to 7. And the only reason why I agreed to do it is I was in Nashville and it was only an hour instead of 3 hours from 5 a.m. But it was a great interview. Also, an extra Asian Oprah giveaway if you are interested in joining me for breakfast at the Inside Edge. I'm speaking on November the 28th. So the first caller, the first listener watcher to go to my website, drmarissa.tv, and say breakfast with me will get that ticket. And that is on November 28th. It's very early in the morning, but it will be worth it because you get to listen to me speak. Ha, ha, ha. But I'm so appreciative of so many of you who have been so kind on my social media lately, repeating things that I've said or things that are from my 52 card pick-me-ups, and I'm just so grateful for all of you. You know who you are. Also, I am super excited to bring you a great lineup these next 3 weeks of the show. Next week is Jenny Carr and her book called A Piece of Cake, talking about the diets that will help you reduce inflammation, which is right now the number one cause of almost every doctor's visit is some kind of inflammation, which is 100% related to stress. 85% of doctors' diagnoses these days are stress. So what are you putting in your body? And it is time when we start taking a little bit of responsibility. And if we look at the illnesses, I've always thought, what's the difference between last generation and this generation, where we seem to be a whole lot more sick with different kinds of diseases, and diet and processed food is the number one culprit. So let's take some responsibility around that. As well, the following week is, as I said, Jafar Jackson and Eric Lippert's if I said that right. Are you confused? Are you cryptic about the cryptocurrency? Is it cryptic to you? Well, I'm actually finally going to put that moose on the table. Eric's going to come and talk about this whole blockchain and why it makes me feel like a blockhead, but there's actually some really fabulous disruptive technology that is putting money out of the hands of the traditional people who are making a lot of money, and the musicians don't get anything. So it's called tokenizing. Tanya Tucker's niece is part of it. I went to a red carpet at the Dolby Theater and learned about it, and I finally understand it. So Jafar Jackson has also been tokenized, and you get to learn firsthand about that the last week of November. So that is all that I have. I think... let's see. My other mom's birthday is tomorrow, so I wanted just to sing a little bit to someone who's very special to me, and that's Dolores. So, happy birthday, dear Dolores. I love you so much. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I love you so much. Thank you for all that you've done for me and all that you are to me. And that's my other mom. She's going to be 86, I want to say. 86 or 87, I don't even remember. It's like way too up there now. But, and I just wanted to close the show with that. So that is it for today's episode. Tune in next week for another scintillating talk with me on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, EI. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out. That's world peace through inner peace.